welcome to Tackle Fanatics TV. And in this episode of TFTV, you get a chance to see Trakker's shallow net mesh.
Here we have the Trakker shallow landing net mesh. Now over the past couple of years we've literally been inundated with requests for a shallow mesh version that's compatible with our landing net range. Now you might wonder why, but I'll get to the details of where this product might fit into your own fishing in a minute. But in terms of the actual technical details, this mesh is designed to fit landing nets with 42-inch arms, and it measures in at 75 centimetres depth. Now that might look quite deceiving as it stands looking at it here, but when this is in use and it's wet, the actual depth is 75 centimetres. Now if I compare that with some standard meshes on the market, they kind of measure in at roughly 120, 130 centimetres depth. So there's a big difference between the two. Now you might be wondering, where does a shallow landing net mesh fit into your own fishing? Well, personally, I found there's several key uses. First up, you're fishing a weedy water, you're having to wade out, perhaps to net fish. The weed can be a nightmare with a deep mesh. The shallow mesh travels easier through the water, and it's certainly easy to maneuver in weedy situations. Next up, great for use on rivers. Obviously with the flow, a deep mesh, it can get pushed downstream by the flow. Again, I've found on rivers, the shallow mesh really comes into its own. Now another use, stalking. It's lightweight, it's smaller, it's that little bit more compact, just makes the whole stalking scenario much, much easier. Pack it down under your arm and off you go. Finally, one other key benefit, because there's less mesh, when it's wet, it weighs less. Now let's be fair, netting fish, it can be a tense experience. Imagine you've had to get into your waders, you're out in the lake, and you've literally pushed your net out in front of you. Now with a net float and the shallow mesh, you can rest assured that that net is not going to sink or snag on the bottom, and then it's prime for when that fish is ready to go into the net. Now, I've talked a lot about the details of the best times to use it and how it works. Probably the next thing, let's see how it goes together. Okay, first up, if I break down the net, as you normally would do, just pop the pole to one side. Now literally you're just going to reverse the process that I'm going to show you now to actually put it together. So first up, just slide the pole out of one of the sides, and then literally it's a case of just feeding the other pole through to follow it round. Now it takes a little bit of coaxing, but when you've done it a couple of times, it's really not too tricky. So I'll just follow that round. That comes off that side. Right, so that's done. So if you imagine that's perhaps a standard mesh, now I'm just going to reverse the process to literally put it back on. And as you can see, it really doesn't take any time at all. So if I take one end, doesn't matter which way you go, just pop that back in and then just start feeding it back round. What I find the easiest way to do it is just do it slowly and then steadily just move the mesh round. Right, so I'm over one of the corners now. Keep bringing that round. If I just move round to the other side, I can then start to feed that side in. And all being well, just move that round into position. Just get the protected corners where they need to be. And there we have it. And literally, just pop it back on your landing net and it's job done. Now, if you've experienced some of the situations that I've just described, or you want a spare landing net mesh, should the situation arrive whereby mid-session you accidentally rip your net and you want that peace of mind and the security that you've got a spare mesh in your bag ready to go at a moment's notice, the shallow landing net mesh from Trakker could be the one for you.
You've been tuned into TFTV. Tackle Fanatics stock an extensive range of Trakker products at the best prices in the UK. To view our range, log on to www.tacklefanatics.co.uk. Member Tackle Fanatics also offer finance to make your tackle purchase more affordable. Tight lines and wet nets, remember at TFTV.